Hello, so today we will be discussing about three subtopics under the our major topic, which is the evaluating a single project. Okay, so but before that, here's a real um, example of something about a single project. So let me just read. This is entitled Carbon Fibers versus Metal. So there is a rule of thumb that if the weight of an automobile can be reduced by 10%, then 6% of the annual cost of gasoline can be saved. Or I think, tama man pud no. Kay the more nga bugat siya, the more nga mag-burn ang imong combustion engine. I don't know the right term. Para mapa-andar or mapadagan nimo ang car. So yeah, I think this is a study or kuan sa mga engineers. Like lightweight and high-strength carbon fibers costing about $15 to $20 per pound are currently being considered to replace the metal in automobile and aerospace applications. So the objective of recent research is to reduce the cost to $5 per pound. Per pound, ha? Engineers believe that they can economically reduce the weight of an automobile by substituting carbon fibers for metal to save 20 to 30% on fuel consumption each year. 20 to 30% is a big savings na for fuel, ha? Especially that fuel prices nag-spike siya taas and panagsara siya maubos. Other structures such as stronger wind turbines can also be built with lightweight carbon fibers. After working through this topic, we will be able to evaluate the economic trade-off between the annual fuel savings and upfront cost of carbon fibers and to determine whether it is a smart trade-off. I um, I think we have this same trade-off example in um, I don't know if it's topic 1 or 2, but we have this katong ga-consider ta sa katong green engineering, or what do you call that one? Forgot. Pero yan na ito'y program na na-mention nato. Naga-consider ta sa trade-off niya. So, as an introduction, all engineering economy studies, sorry, all engineering economy studies of capital projects should consider the return that a given project will or should produce. A basic question that this topic will address or lesson will address is whether a proposed capital, kung ang proposed capital ba, capital investment, and its associated expenditures can be recovered, ma-recover pa ba siya by revenue or savings over time in addition to a return on the capital that is sufficiently attractive in view of the risks involved and the potential alternative uses. So, of course, it really matters kung mabawi ba not only the capital but mag-gain ba og savings pag ma-implement ang project. The interest and money-time relationships we have discussed emerge as essential ingredients in answering this question, and they are applied to many different types of problems. Because patterns of capital investment, revenue, cash flows, and expense cash flows can be quite different in various projects, there is no single method for performing engineering economic analysis na ideal for all cases, kay gavary gyud siya. Okay, and like perfect na analysis na like method na ma-apply nimo in one situation. Okay, of course, there are a lot of factors that you need to consider. But we have several methods that we can use. And a project focus will be taken as we introduce ways of gauging profitability. So here's a big word, profitability, because this is very important in businessman ka or kay mo kag propose ka og ang project, will it profit? So today we will concentrate, no, not today, for this whole lecture, we will concentrate on the correct use of the 5 methods for evaluating the economic profitability of a single proposed problem solution. So the 5 methods described, or I just mentioned, are um, the present worth, okay, that's one, the future worth, and one, two, the third is the future, I think, okay, annual worth, the IRR, or the internal rate of return, and lastly, the ERR. So, na internal and na external. So, external rate of return. The first three, this one, the present worth, future, and the annual worth, is um, these convert cash flows resulting from a proposed problem solution into their equivalent worth at some point in time by using an interest rate known as the MARR. So, kani siya. Discussin na to una so that magamit na to siya diri sa succeeding na mga topics. The concept of MAR, ito na natin na to si MAR, okay, as well as the determination of its value is discussed on the next slide na lang. These two, on the other hand, these are the methods that we use to compute annual rates of profit or returns resulting from an investment and are then compared to MAR. So, i-compare na nato sila. So, we also have what we call the payback period. Now, when you say payback period, siguro ma-cover ni nato siya, but just very brief for this lecture. The payback period is measured as the is a measure of the speed with which an investment is recovered by the cash inflow it produces. This measure in its common form ignores time value of money principles. For this reason, the payback method is often used to supplement information produced by the 5 primary methods featured in this lecture. So, we have a note here na ato gamiton for the rest of the lecture. It says na unless otherwise specified, the end of period cash flow convention and discrete compounding of interest rate are used throughout this and subsequent chapters. A planning horizon or study analysis period of n compounding periods, and we are using n, usually years ang n, is used to evaluate prospective investment throughout the remainder of this course. Okay, now let's proceed to MAR. I think I mentioned this one earlier. Now, the minimum attractive rate of return is usually a policy resolved by the top management of an organization in view of numerous considerations. So, daghan siya mga considerations. Okay, and first is so we're going to talk about 4 considerations na consider. Okay, first is the amount of money available. For investment and the source and cost of these funds. So, asa man siya gikan? Is it from equity funds, from borrowed funds? So, amount of money available. Pilang available? Number 2 is the number of good projects available for investment. And their purpose. So whether they sustain present operations and are essential or whether they expand on present operations and are elective. So number 3 is the amount of perceived risk. So, of course na may mga risk in taking projects, no? But, yeah, the amount of risk, perceived risk associated with investment opportunities available to the firm and the estimated cost of administering projects over short planning horizons versus long planning horizons. Last is the type of organization. So type of org involved. Is it from the government, the public utility, or private industry? So in theory, the MAR, which is sometimes called as the hurdle rate, should be chosen to maximize the economic well-being of an organization. So, of course, pasabot ani kani siyang upat ka buok. Dere. So, how an individual firm accomplishes this in practice is far from clear-cut and is frequently the subject of discussion. So one popular approach to establishing a MAR involves the opportunity cost. Can you recall and comment down the definition of opportunity cost that we have discussed in the earlier part of our class for this semester? So yeah, isa ka popular na approach in establishing the MAR is it involves the opportunity cost viewpoint, and it results from the phenomenon of capital rationing. This situation may arise when the amount of available capital is insufficient to sponsor all worthy investment opportunities. And the subject of capital rationing is covered in the next, I don't know if we can cover this one pa. Pero, I think we have an example of the capital rationing. Capital rationing. So we have a simple example of capital rationing, and this is where this one here. So money siya, no? Cumulative investment amount, millions of dollars per ano niya, per unit niya. Anyway, money siya ang cumulative investment. Okay, requirements of 7 acceptable project. So, na kay project A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And these are plotted against the prospective laser. These are plotted against the prospective annual rate of profit here of each. And this shows a limit of 600 million unavailable capital. Okay, in view of this limitation, the last funded project would be E. Okay, so funny siya. With a prospective rate profit of 19% per year, and the best projected project is F. Why do you think? Kay wala na siya kaabot. In this case, the MAR by the opportunity cost principle would be 16% per year. Says here, no, by not being able to invest in project F, the firm would presumably be forfeiting the chance to realize a 16% annual return. As the amount of investment and capital opportunities available change over time, the firm's MAR will also change. So this is the approximate cost of obtaining the 600. Nice. Project E is this one, no, acceptable only as its annual rate of profit exceeds the cost of raising the last 100 million. Siya, difference. And the cost of capital will tend to increase gradually as the larger sums of money are acquired through increased borrowing or debt or new issuances of common stock, or let's say common stock or equity. So again, this is determination of the MAR based on the opportunity cost viewpoint. And again, the opportunity cost viewpoint is the popular measure of annual rate of profit. Um, a popular measure of annual rate of profit is the IRR, sorry, and we will discuss that later or in the next topic. So, yes, so we're now on the present worth method. Let me just check my other notes. Okay, so the present worth method is based on the concept of equivalent worth of all cash flows relative to some base or beginning point in time called the present. Of course, no? Obvious man siguro. That is, all cash inflows and out are discounted to the present point in time at an interest rate that is generally the MAR, interest rate. A positive PW, or present worth, for an investment project is a dollar amount of profit over the minimum amount required by the investor. It is assumed that the cash generated by the alternative is available for other uses that earn interest at a rate equal to the MAR. So to find ang PW nimo, kanino, by looking at this kanang equations right here, giderive pa na niya, but kanina lang diretso. So to find the PW as a function of I% or interest per period of a series cash inflows and outflows, it is necessary to discount future amounts. So from future amounts to the present by using the interest rate over the appropriate study period. So years, for example. So ingani siya, paniya. Ang I ani is the effective interest rate or ang MAR per compounding period. Ang K is the index for each compounding period. FK is the future cash flow at the end of period K. And ang N is the number of compounding periods in the planning horizon. So K is the index for each compounding period, not the ang compounding periods. Ang compounding periods, number of compounding periods is represented by N. Okay, so the relationship is given just in our previous nga kanang nakatong ipakita nako na figure 5-1 na graph nga naay MAR, na naay 7 projects nga proposed. Based siya sa assumption of a constant interest rate throughout the life of a particular project. And if the interest rate is assumed to change, ang PW, pag mag-change ang imong interest rate, okay, ang PW must be compared in 2 or more steps as in 2 or more steps. To apply the PW method, okay, next slide. To apply the PW method of determining a project's economic worthiness, we simply compute the present equivalent of all cash flows using the MAR as the interest rate. I think it was mentioned ganina na, no? Pero this is the PW decision rule. If PW I is equal to MAR, of course, is greater than or equal to 0, the project is economically justified. It is important to observe that the higher the interest rate and the farther into the future a cash flow occurs, the lower its PW is. Okay. Okay. So the PW of ano ba siya? Ang graph mismo, ang figure. Ang PW of $1,000 10 years from now is 613.9 when I is equal to 5% per year. However, if ang I is 10%, the same 1,000 is only worth 385.5 now. Ano siya? No? Ang present worth niya is 1,000. 10 years from now, mahimo na lang siya 613.9. Pag ang I is 5% per year. However, if ang I is 10% per year, that same 1,000 is, kani siya nga present worth is only 385.5 karon. Okay. Muna siya ang kaning gi-represent sa graph. If I'm correct, this is a 385, then the at 10% and 613.9 at 5% nga I. And then we also have here the 161.5 at 20%, and the 30% nga 72.5 na lang siya. Okay? So, muna siya iyang note here nga the higher the interest rate and the farther into the future a cash flow occurs, the lower is its PW is. Okay, so let's have an example. A piece of new equipment has been proposed by engineers to increase the productivity of a certain manual welding operation. The investment cost is $25,000, and the equipment will have a market value of $5,000 at the end of a study period of 5 years. Increased productivity attributable to the equipment will amount $8,000 per year. $8,000 per year after extra operating costs have been subtracted, subtract na siya, from the revenue generated by the additional production. Wait lang. Again, a piece of new equipment has been proposed by engineers to increase the productivity of a certain manual welding operation. Okay. Ang investment cost niya is 25. Ang worth ato. And the equipment will have a market value of 5,000 at the end of the study period of 5 years. Okay. So, na siya market value ng 5,000 at the end of, okay, 8. A cash flow diagram for this investment opportunity is given below, I think on the next page, on the next slide. If the first mark, here's our interest rate, 20% per year, is this proposal a sound one? Okay, now let's try to answer that one. I'm going to show you the cash flow diagram niya on our next slide. Here. I just hope na makita ninyo siya. I hope na klaro siya. Anyway, so, diba, niingon siya nga na siya 25K. Nga, modo siya ang investment cost. And then, ingon niya na for the 5 years daw, naa siya 5,000. Na siya dire. And ang 8K per year, after extra, napagid kay 8K per year. Okay, na-deducted na ani ang operating cost. Okay na siya, So, end of year na siya, nga orientation, and ang MAR nato is 20%. Okay, got it. Sige. PW is equal to PW of cash inflows minus the PW of cash outflows. So, with that, 20% na kanang interest is $8,000 times, this is a functional notation, plus 5,000, and then this, kani siya, 5,000 for 5 years, 20% gihapon ato gigamit, minus the 25K nga investment cost. So, 8,000, 20, correct. This is correct. And we have the $934.29. $934.29. Because PW, when ang MAR niya is greater than 0, this equipment is economically justified. So, go back to the decision rule of present worth na method na to if the project is economically justified. So, in this case, yes, it is economically justified. Okay. Sige. Next, Kanisha, you can scan this one lang. Um, okay, so we have an example here, another example. This is about the present worth of a space heating system. Okay, let's read. A retrofitted space heating system is being considered for a small office building. The system can be purchased and installed for $110,000 and it will save an estimated 300,000 kilowatt hour of electric power each year for over a 6-year period. A kilowatt hour of electricity costs 0.10 and the company uses a MAR of 15 per year in its economic evaluations of refurbished systems. The market value of the system will be $8,000 at the end of 6 years. 8,000 at the 8K at the end of 6 years. Okay. An additional annual operating and maintenance expenses are negligible. Use the PW method to determine whether this system should be installed. Okay. So, um, just let me check my notes. Okay, we have a solution here on the next slide. To find the PW of the proposed heating system, we need to find the present equivalent of all associated um, sorry. We need to find the present equivalent of all associated cash flows. The estimated annual savings in an electrical power is worth 300k kilowatt hour times, okay. So, gi-multiply ni niya ang estimated na savings, no? 300 times 0.10, kaya mo na ang rate niya. So, that would be 30,000 per year. 30k per year. Okay, at a MAR of 15%. It's also mentioned in the given. So we get ang present to find the they call this one. Ang PW nimo at 15% na MAR is equal to negative 110k plus 30k na savings nimo, and that would be for 6 years na siya, no? For 6 years, 15% plus ang 8K nga market value. This is the market value, positive siya. And that's for 15% po for 6 minus 110 plus, sorry. So this will be equal to negative 110, factor out, simplify, compute, and you will get 6,993.14 or 7K, no? Okay. So, ang PW with 15% na more is greater than 0. Therefore, we conclude that the retrofitted space heating system should be installed. Kay economically justified siya. Okay? The future worth method. We haven't sige. The future worth method is because a primary objective of all time value of money method is to maximize the future wealth of the owners of a firm. The economic information provided by the FW method is very useful in the capital investment decision situations. The kaning FW method is based on the equivalent worth of all cash flows, inflows, and outflows at the end of the planning horizon. Moing ka planning horizon, this is the study period at an interest rate that is generally the MAR. Also, the FW of a project is equivalent to its PW. That is ang FW niya. Okay. Dali na natin diretso sa decision rule niya. If greater than 0, or greater or equal than 0, the project is economically justified. So, this is just a summary of the general calculations to determine a project's FW. Okay, let's move. We have an example about the relationship between the future worth and the present worth. Okay. So, evaluate the FW of the potential improvement project described in our first example. Yes, in the first example that we have discussed. Show the relationship between FW and PW for this example. The solution would be, okay, so balikan na to ang first example na to, no? Ingon siya nga from first 5-1, example 5-1, ang MAR niya is 20%. What else is given there? Naakay investment cost na 25K. What else? What else? Dayon, pila ka years ang involved ani? Naakay 5 years. Alright. Alright. Sige, so, with bar na 20%, ang negative, this is the investment cost, no? So, that's why negative siya. And for 20%, 5 years. And then, ang 8K nimo, I haven't listed the 8K. The 8K is the productivity attributable to equipment amount per year. Okay. Productivity attributable to the equipment will amount 8 per year after subsidy revenue. Okay. So, naka 8K, that would be positive. 20% 5, same. Plus 5K. Ang 5K is kadtong market value niya. Okay? Market value niya nga after 5 years ra mo gawas, no? Reflect. So, at sa 5 years na ni siya. Okay? And 2,000, so simplifying that one, kay $2,324.8K. So, this project is shown to be a good investment. Kaya ang FW is greater than or equal to 0. Ang PW is a multiple of the equivalent FW value. So, i-consider nimo si PW nga 20% mark. Nakay mamani siya itong i-compute sa first, no? That's why nakakuha kag 934.29. So, again, economically justified gihapon siya. Okay, next. Let's move to 5-7. This is about the sensitivity analysis using the FW or, this is our last example. The 110 5-2, na-discuss ba na to? Okay. The example 5-2 is the one, the example about the present worth of a space heating system. So just go back a few slides so that you can have the important na basin na siya mga given dito. So let's read $110,000. Retrofitted space heating system was projected to save 30K per year in an electrical power and be worth 8K at the end of 6 years. Sa 6th year nakamagka 8K. Okay. Use the FW method to determine whether the project is still economically justified if the system has 0 market value After 6 years. After nasa 6 years. Mag, um, kung okay pa ba siya. Ang MAR niya is 15%. Okay, sige. We need to find the future equivalent value of the 110. That's correct. 110 investment and the 30,000 annual savings and an interest rate of 15% per year. So, future worth with the 15% sa 110, mo ni siya ang imong ano no, ang investment cost. 110, that would be negative 15% in 6 years plus the 30k nimo savings nimo 15% for okay, and then 110 factor this out, check the tables, this one too kana siya. So simplifying na kay 8,170. The heating system is still a profitable project. Nice. F even if it has a market, if it has a normal market value at the end of the study period. Amazing because determine mo siya, predict mo siya kung ang unsay ka nang like kung ikaw ang investor, would you still, of course there are risks, so let's consider na for example zero market value siya after 6 years, so will it still be profitable, okay, at the end of the study period? Yes, it is. Kay like with this future worth method, na determine niya na economically justified or mo go on gihapon ng profitable gihapon ang heating system even if it has no market value. So yeah, and so that's basically this topic is on how you can use the present worth and the future worth method. And of course, the MARR or the MAR is very important because that's the interest rate that we will be using sa kanina mga methods. Okay, so that's the end of this lecture. Thank you.